Welcome back to the LackLuster channel. In August of 2022, Kenny McDonald knocked on a police cruiser's window outside of the main police union building in Phoenix.
Can you help me out with something? What do you need? There's a bunch of people that need help over. You guys help people, right?
What do you need?
Do you help people? I'm asking you.
What do you need?
No, I'm asking if you help people.
I'm asking you what you need.
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of people over here that are dying in the heat and they don't have any food or water. Could you do anything about that?
There's resources over there for them.
Oh, there is. But you guys just hang out in parking lots. But I thought you guys help people.
Do you need something?
I thought you guys were the ones that help people. I know, I need your attention.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I got it.
you're obstructing police
I am?
operations, yes.
Oh,
so you need to
am?
get out of the way of my vehicle.
Well, you're not even in it. I was knocking on your window to get your attention.
Yeah, get in my way. It's called obstructing police operations.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to a call right now. So if you don't need anything,
I wasn't in your way until you stopped, dumbass.
Okay.
Officer Jay Sleeper became immediately enraged after Kenny lightly insulted him. Kenny was physically apprehended, placed in custodial restraints, and locked into the rear seat of the cruiser without warning. When Kenny asked if it was because he had insulted the officer, Officer Sleeper claims that it was because he wasn't listening, though no instructions were ever given. Officer Alvarado assists in the arrest, though it should be obvious to anyone without any experience whatsoever that the act was unlawful.
No. It's because you're not listening.
A moment later, Officer Sleeper claims that Kenny was obstructing.
So what was it exactly I did?
I already told you, obstructing police operations.
But the car wasn't stopped until...
13-2402 defines obstructing as using or threatening to use violence or physical force to obstruct, impair, or hinder a public servant acting under color of his official authority. But it's clear that Kenny never used force or words that could be even remotely deemed as a threat. The officers now unlawfully searched through Kenny's bag and references an unrelated suspect who was wanted for a firearms-related incident, possibly trying to justify the unlawful arrest.
FYI, this is the guy we were broadcasting about earlier.
Kenny had no connection to the firearms incident, but Officer Sleeper asks for a one-roll, which is police slang, for a mobile fingerprint scan.
Can we also get a one roll down here, please?
A moment later, Officer Sleeper returns and speaks to Kenny.
What did I do exactly?
I've already explained it to you.
Well, no, I'm just curious. I didn't understand.
What didn't you understand about you're now blocking police operations?
But the car stopped. Can I talk?
You can talk all you want.
Or you can listen?
I'll listen.
So, you were driving, and I knocked on the window.
Yeah, you stopped me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I had a question.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you stopped, and then I had to go around the car and talk to you.
Yeah, see, when you came up to my car, okay, one, you're posing a hazard to me driving because I might hit you. Number two, you stopped me in the middle of my work. Okay? You see how that works?
But don't you see how, if you would have asked me to get out of the front of your car, I could have done it, but you didn't. You said, you're obstructing.
I did ask you. I asked you multiple times if there was something you needed.
It's all recorded. I mean, you didn't ask. You didn't say, can you get out of my way of my car?
I guess I did. I said you're in the middle of the road and you need to get out of the way.
It's okay, buddy. I know you heard inside.
Okay.
The officer claims he told Kenny to move, but that never happened, and after speaking to Kenny, the one-roll unit arrives on scene, and upon his arrival, they discuss the suspect's description from the call that they were attempting to falsely associate Kenny with.
Report of an irate individual with a gun at the Polo Center location. Update, once they receive it, and then it came out as, or the next update was, suspect has left the area on a checkered bicycle wearing a hat.
Kenny's bike was not checkered, nor was he wearing or in the possession of a hat.
That's not a checkered bicycle.
No, but he's got a checkered shirt.
That's probably what they meant. Yeah.
The officers then pull up a picture of the suspect to compare it to Kenny.
You were at the polling center earlier today, weren't you? No, you don't want to talk. Interesting. Okay. What did he do to you guys?
So, terminating me.
Of course, before responding, Officer Sleeper ends the recording. And now, with all cameras turned off, they ask Kenny if they can take his fingerprints, but he refuses. The officers move to forcibly take his fingerprints, but he keeps his hands closed in fists. The officers attempt to pry his fingers apart, causing lacerations in the process, and eventually take him to the ground, causing injuries to his jaw and obstructing his breathing. 2 officers place their entire weight onto McDonald, causing scraping injuries across his face and nose. At this point, Kenny is bloodied and afraid for his life, but he is finally beaten into submission, and the officers successfully violate his Fourth Amendment rights again and take his fingerprints. They then fabricate the charges against him by altering his description to fit the firearm suspect. Body cams were turned on and off during the next few hours, intentionally hiding their crimes against Kenny. At one point, they try to clean up his bloody face to hide their violent acts. Kenny was charged with trespassing, obstruction, and aggravated assault, though there was no probable cause for any of the charges. Just prior to his arraignment, a charge of resisting arrest was added, but shortly after, they were all dismissed. Between August and September of 2022, a resistance report was reviewed by supervisors, including 3 sergeants, a lieutenant, and a commander within the Phoenix Police Department. But despite reviewing the footage, not one officer reported that the arrest was unlawful or that excessive force had been used. As such, they are all named in the lawsuit, but it is unclear whether any disciplinary actions have been taken against the officers. It was later determined that 2 of the officers are on the Brady list. This list contains some of the worst police officers that still have a job in the nation. Those involved in incidents of untruthfulness, criminal convictions, excessive force, and other acts of misconduct. They are typically barred from testifying in court. One officer is Chris Turiano, an individual with a long history of excessive force. In 2017, during a protest, he shot a man in the groin with a pepper ball, and as it turns out, they were actually handing out medals for officers who managed to shoot people in the groin during protests. In fact, Chris Turiano shot at least 3 people with pepper balls that night, and some of his victims were simply trying to help people who had fallen to the ground. But Turiano was on the Brady list long before that incident, when he was criminally charged with choking a handcuffed man, all the way back in 2004. Why the Phoenix Police Department still employs him remains a mystery. Another officer involved in this was arrested on 2 misdemeanor counts back in 2015. He was accused of brutally assaulting his wife and son after allegedly being caught cheating. Finally, in July of 2023, Kenny filed a lawsuit seeking nearly $8 million in damages, but as of yet, it is not resolved. It'll likely take years before a judgment is reached or a settlement is determined, and once again, the taxpayers will be punished for the misdeeds of their unelected law enforcement officials. So what do you think? Why is there an endless supply of videos showing law enforcement officers violently violating their oaths and the civil rights of the people they swore to protect? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. If you have a video, use the submit link in the description or pinned comment. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe and hit the bell for future content, and check out our other channels, Lady LackLuster and The Odd Side. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment about what you think of this interaction. It's the easiest way for you to help expose corruption and misconduct. Merchandise is available using the links below. Join the LackLuster family for just $1 if you'd like to further support the channel. Get a Lack logo next to your name, custom emotes, and early access to videos. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All links are down below.